Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness, live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Golan F. Michael Pledger alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, then great. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll see him tomorrow night. Guys, tonight, it is going to be a historic evening. Obviously, traditionally, we would be talking about NXT on a Tuesday night, AEW Dynamite that would have gone down tonight. But due to the election, the United States election, the presidential election, News Nation took over the CW last night, and the CW moved NXT from last night to tonight, did it live, and did it in a historic venue from the 2300 arena. You guys, that's the venue that you guys know it as. But for me, for a few of my buddies in the wrestling world, for us now and forever, it is the ECW Arena. South Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is the site for this show. And woo, is all we can say. All right. So we started it off with the Philly street fight. That was Jada Parker going one-on-one with Lola Vice and the special guest referee, an ECW original, Dawn Marie, was the referee for this matchup. When it was all said and done, hold on. What happened here? Wait a minute. Hold on, folks. I'm trying to get it. I think did they really? Um, oh, it's still loading. Okay, that's why I was wondering. It's still loading the recap. Is it loading the recap? Hang on. I'm sorry, guys. It's just because I'm going through ProWrestling.net and it kind of shortchanged me on this. It doesn't give me a complete report. This is weird. It stops at the point of the first commercial break. What the heck happened? Hold on. Hopefully that's just a minor misfire. Hold on. Let me try this again. All right. Going down. There we go. Here we go. EC Jason Powell, ECW NXT TV report. And going down. All right. The entrances. And no, it doesn't give me anything more. What the hell happened? Okay.
No problem, MF. I got you covered.
Hold on. I got it. I'm gonna have to go another site.
I've already got it. So
that's weird. They didn't do their due diligence? What the hell?
Very weird. Yeah.
All right. I'm getting into 411. Yep, there he goes. I got it. Okay. NXT review. There we go. All right, here we go. So the result I have is, there we go, NXT. There we go. First fight of the night. And all right, the winner of the bout in 14 minutes, 47 seconds, Jada Parker winning the match in that match. Okay, so this was a hot start. Anthony knows I was loving this match. Uh, for once, very rare that I ever do this, but I was doing a text chat with them, and we were doing it over social media. Um, I don't normally Anthony and Michael Bullock does their talks. I normally text the guys via social media. If there's any breaking news, they normally hit me up through that way, and that's how I normally contact them. So I was harping about this match, going absolutely bonkers with this. Loving everything I saw. This was an incredible match. The weaponry was amazing, and they brought it. And the crowd in the ECW arena ate this up. It was better than I even expected it. 3.5. That's what I'll give it. You can even make an argument for one of the best fights of the evening. I think that's how good this was. I really enjoyed it. I thought the body of work was amazing. The story was told great. And props to all three women, including Dawn Marie. My goodness, man. You know, there was a couple of moments where maybe she was a little out of position with the pin, but you gotta give it up for her, man. She was really good, and she didn't even get involved. She let the women fight. I think that's the best thing that they did. Let the women do their thing. Referee doesn't get involved. Sometimes special guest referees, they like to interject themselves into this match. Don Marie was like, oh, she was like, hey, come on, get inside. Like, get inside. But that's all that she really did. She let these girls go. She let these girls work, and they were amazing. ECW Arena, South Philadelphia gave it. They were eating it up. Yes, there was some holy shit chants along the way. Yes, it got muted. CW, Network TV, you're not allowed to say some stuff. Okay, I get it. Fine. I'm not mad. But man, what a jump off to the show. This was amazing. This was awesome. Anthony Florio, 3.5 stars for me. This was a banger to jump off ECW at the 2300.
Yes, indeed. And 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. Great match, but it's not without constructive criticism, though. A match like this can protect talent, but an overuse of weapons can quickly lead to too many obvious setups that betray the scripted structure of the match. This was on full display early in this bout, thanks to multiple awkward slowdown spots and weapon introductions. With the level of talent involved, this was a match that should have improved down the stretch, but Jada Parker and Lola Vice never found the rhythm. In a very even matchup on paper, it never felt like Lola had a chance to win. Overwhelmed by Jada Parker in a match that went a bit too long for its content. At least the definitive result with Jada Parker winning, that's a big deal. At least that was good. And like MF mentioned, Dawn Marie did not play into the decision at all, just working a standard referee role throughout. But nonetheless, even with the constructive criticism, it was still a very enjoyable match, like MF mentioned. And great way to jump it off. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. And give it up for Dawn Marie. She still looks amazing after all these years. Are you kidding me? I mean, unreal. So that's all I can say. And so a great match. Not perfect, but it was great. So 3.5, maybe 3.75 for this. So excellent jump off. So with that being said, MF, we move on to our next match.
Yes, and that was Wesley going one-on-one with Javon Evans. Now, before this match got started, Kalani Jordan was hanging with RVD. You know, Kalani doing the infamous leg splits that normally RVD does during his training. He basically was giving her a pep talk, everything else. Next thing we know, we see a camera just go sideways, and we hear a whole bunch of beat down, and we're like, what the heck going on? Wesley rolls out, RVD got jumped. And we're like, what? So I flip out anger. I know if Michael Bullock was here, he would be flipping out in anger. So they do the match, and Javon Evans wins the match in 12 minutes and 20 seconds RVD comes back to doesn't get involved, but he does cause enough of a distraction that gives Javon Evans the leg up on this one. So Anthony, it's yours. Evans winning it in 12-20.
This should only be the first match in this rivalry. Wesley and Javon Evans delivered in a big way and left plenty more to explore. In this environment, they leaned more hardcore, battling outside and using their environment. It sold the hatred between these two men, but it also left room for a more traditional bout in the future. The young OG picked up the first win with help from RVD. Lee will need to get his win back soon if he hopes to get an NXT championship opportunity in the future. The potential of this rivalry should build to perhaps the next PLE, which we'll get into in a little bit, where Wesley would be the perfect heel to maybe come out of a certain match on that's a staple of the next PLE. And maybe he'll finally get his shot at Trick Williams, maybe to start the new year. I don't know. And like MF said, Wesley attacked RVD backstage after he gave veteran advice to Kalani Jordan for her big 10-woman tag team main event. Vic Joseph announced that the referees should show leniency for all matches on this show in terms of disqualifications and countouts. And the young OG continues to take big risks with his spots that do not always pay off. This time, he overestimated how far he could fly for the 5-star frog splash. Another 3.5 stars. Not much more to say. Big win for Javon Evans, but MF, the feud must continue. It can't end after one match.
Oh no, and obviously the feud will continue, no doubt about it. 3.5 stars for me. I thought they did a really good job with this one. They worked their butts off on this one. They worked their tails off. They really tried to tell a good story. The fans were eating it up. They were definitely going really well, and then they kind of slowed a little bit until RVD showed up. And yes, I did the infamous setup with Anthony Florio, something that is very, very, very traditional in WWE. The music hits, Florio yells out, "Oh
no!"
And then I'm like, "Here he comes! They're on their feet!" And then when RVD comes out, I used to yell out to greet that man, and it felt so right for that moment to happen. Felt so right. ECW Arena, 2300 Club, South Philadelphia, RVD showing up. It felt right. It felt right. That moment felt right for me, man. It made me feel like I was back in high school in 2002. Like that's how good it felt. It felt like high school all over again. To do that moment about 22 years ago now. So, all right. So next up, we did have Ava with Stevie Turner and Robert Stone. They were in the ring, and she made the big announcement. There was a big announcement that the next time that they go back on the road will be on December 7th. It will be NXT Deadline, and it's going to be held in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But on that night, it's going to be Iron Survivor. That's right. The Iron Survivor match is back. And we all know about the Iron Survivor. It is 25 minutes. 5-minute intervals will bring out one superstar. And it's gauntlet style. If you get a pinfall, you get 1 point. The person who got pinned goes into a penalty box for 2 minutes. The person with the most decisions at the end of 25 minutes becomes the Iron Survivor and wins a guaranteed title shot for the NXT and NXT Women's Championship. They are guaranteed title shots if you win it. So, then Robert Stone. Okay, he decided that he needed to throw some hay at the Philly fans. Talked about how New York fans were better than Philly, how Boston fans were better than Philly, and you knew that was going to draw the ire of the fans. And then the lights go out. Honestly, I thought Sabu was going to show up. But then the lights come back on, and there's a dude in the corner. I don't know who he looks like, but he looks like some big beast. And Anthony Flair, what happened next?
It was who was that guy? It was just a guy who was just inducted into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame as part of Bound for Glory a couple of weeks ago, and a gentleman who Paul Heyman affectionately described as the man beast from Detroit, Michigan. Rhino with a gore, gore, gore.
I was waiting for that. Yes, classic Anthony Flair on that one. He's actually the one that does the who yells out the gore, gore, gore on the group. And as a matter of fact, another man who used to love to yell out gore, gore, gore in the game, Michael Bollick. Welcome to the party, my friend. Gonna catch you up very quickly. So he didn't miss much, buddy. We started off with the women's street fight. Jada Parker beating Lola Vice in 14 minutes and 47 seconds.
Sorry about that. I forgot to unmute my mic. So, 3.5 stars. Definitely a great way to start it off. And I gotta say this to you, Fletch. I mean, Dawn Marie still looks really good. I mean, and you saw. I mean, she got a huge ovation when she came out, but obviously the right person to me went over on this, so there's really nothing more to say.
And the match that we just talked about briefly before you came in, Javon Evans, Wesley, Javon Evans winning in 12:20.
Yeah, a 3.25, teetering on 3.5. I mean, this was a really good match. I mean, but obviously Rob Van Dam basically came out to assist Javon Evans, especially after Wesley jumped Rob Van Dam backstage, which was, I'll say it, totally disrespectful. I mean, you do it in that arena, yeah, you know people are, and I'll say, I mean, Wesley's starting to become a real thug here. I mean, jumping people backstage, costing people a tag title opportunity. Yeah. I mean, Javon Evans definitely got his payback here, so there's really nothing more to say. I mean, it's yours.
Right. The next up, you know what, Bullock, do you want to talk quickly about Rhino or the Iron Survivor, or do you just want to move on?
I'll talk a little bit about both. And I mean, yeah, the Iron Survivor challenge is back, so I can't wait to see what happens this time around. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Mr. Robert Stone made a huge mistake with what he said, and yeah, it was good to see Rhino back, and especially hitting him with that gore, gore, gore.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's also the other thing that I was waiting for as well, because, like I said, these are the two guys that normally does it. The
Oh
most
man.
infamous one for me and Anthony Florio was literally on his birthday, and Rhino scored Chris Jericho through the SmackDown stage at that night. And yeah, that was an epic moment. And now Michael Bullock got actually Michael Bullock was the one who did it tonight in the arena. Of course, that's his since NXT his show. Me and Floyd were both freaked out there. Wait, I'm like, oh no, turn away, Robert! And he's like, it's Rhino, and then the gore and Bullet hits us with the gore,
Oh man.
with the gore, and that's what I was like, you gotta be kidding me! Oh my god! Because obviously ECW, and I know the guys want me to do it, so they got to hear me do it. I didn't scream it out, but I just kind of did the oh my god, like Joey Styles would do it, not the screaming version of it. But we'll move on. Here's one of the big fights: tag team match. Ethan Page and Rich Holland versus Bubba Ray Dudley and the the NXT champion. I got ECW in my head. Sorry. The NXT champion Trick Williams. When it was all said and done, winners of the bout, 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Rich Holland and Ethan Page. Rich Holland pinned the champion. Michael Bullock. Obviously championship committee moment, but there was some more shenanigans after the match was over, and I'll let you elaborate on that part of the show.
What was the time?
Well, 10:20.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 3.25 on this one. I mean, yeah, like you said, this was a good encounter, and Ridge Holland pins the champion. So, and because of that, I usually like to bring in Anthony Florio because this is his thing, and Florio, Ridge Holland pinned the champion, so you know what that means. I give it to you. As you, what's the thing that you always like to say?
I believe this constitutes as a championship committee moment, gentlemen.
Yeah, damn right it is. Anytime you pin the champion, it's a championship committee moment, and
Deadline.
I think you're looking at the next challenger for Trick Williams NXT Championship, but
deadline.
Yeah, deadline. I could see that happening, but here's the thing: the celebration got cut short.
Yeah.
Because, well, Bubba Ray was doing the get the tables, and Trick Williams was looking for it and couldn't find one. Well, somebody did have a table. It was another ECW original, and Bubba Ray's partner from the legendary, one of the greatest tag teams in ECW history, the Dudley Boys. It is Devon Dudley. And all I can say, Mr. All Ego Ethan Page, yeah, it was not a good night for you because, Fletch, what happened to Mr. All Ego Ethan Page?
Well, unfortunately, he got chokeslammed through a table, and yes, that was the moment where the guys wanted it, they got it. I yelled out, "Oh my god!"
Yep, that's what happened. And yes, it is so good to see the Dudley Boys back together. And I know this is your favorite Florio, especially when Devon Dudley shows up. And I'm going to do it right here, right now. Oh, my brother. Oh, testify.
Testify.
Indeed.
Damn straight. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, there's a lot to unpack on this one. Number 1, 3 stars. I think they did a really good stuff. You saw there was a lot of nostalgia in this. For Bubba Ray, he looked good in the ring too. You know, there's always concern with Bubba when he's in the ring. What are we gonna get? But he looked good. He looked fine. It's like It was like going in motion. Him and Trick really were working really well as a team. It looked good. For Rich Holland to win the match is perfect. I think this was the one thing that we were talking about last week, boys, that when this match was going to happen. What was the one thing we said? Rich needs to win here. He needs to beat Trick Williams to cement himself as the next challenger for the NXT title. Got it. Check mark. We got all three. We got what we wanted. And then we get the nostalgia of the ECW fans by bringing Devon into the building, and those damn Dudleys do what they do more than any other time. Somebody went through the table tonight, and it wouldn't have been anybody better than the loudmouth all ego Ethan Page. So he gets the comeuppance. We get the moment. The nostalgia factor hits yet again, and it was a solid, good match. No doubt about it. Right outcome on everything. You get the nostalgia play to basically please the people in Philly. So all in all, good segment. Nothing to complain about. Maybe some constructive criticism about the pacing of the match, but that's a little nitpick in my eyes. But other than that, Anthony Foyo, it's yours, brother.
I appreciate the build up there because yes, here's another match where I unfortunately have to throw in some constructive criticism. Unfortunately, I never like to do it, but in this case, I have to. So, anyways, this was about 3 to 3.25 stars. Outside of the fun nostalgia pops for Bubba in the ECW arena, this was not all that great. I mean, everyone was moving at a snail's pace. After all of Rich Holland's bluster and build, he won with a roll-up. And Ethan Page has gone quickly from NXT champion to goofball. And it may take him a while to get his credibility back after all of this. And even Devon's appearance was a little anticlimactic as he could not get physically involved, leaving Trick still in the weird fill-in spot. But a 3 to 3.25 star match there. And yeah, a lot of things came out of this. Holland slapped Bubba, who decided to tag in afterward to face him down, and the crowd chanted, "Bubba's gonna kill you." And we talked about Ava announcing the return of Deadline, heading to Minneapolis, Minnesota on December the 7th, including the men's and women's Iron Survivor Challenge. Rhino made a surprise appearance after the announcement to gore Mr. Stone. And as Stevie Turner carried Mr. Stone to the EMTs, Ava told Nathan Frazier and Axiom that she would address the state of the tag team division next week. That's definitely something that we need to keep an eye on for sure. And a lot of things coming out. I mean, Rhino, who just got inducted into the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame as part of Bound for Glory almost 2 weeks ago. And the NXT TNA crossover strikes again here. The gore, absolutely. And, of course, Deadline. Looking forward to those Iron Survivor matches. Those are always fun. I cannot wait to see which men and which women will be in it. Next week, we're going to start the qualifying matches for the Iron Survivor Challenge on the men's and women's side. And Rich Holland with the championship committee moment, pinning Trick Williams. And there's no question about it. I see Deadline. I see the main event of Deadline being Trick Williams versus Rich Holland for the NXT Championship. So 3 to 3.25. That's the best I can go for it. So not much more to say. MF, let's continue on.
All right. And the next thing that we did have on the show, the North American Championship on the line, as it was Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT, with the family alongside with them. You know who they are. Channing Stacks Lorenzo, Luca Crucifino, Adriana Rizzo, and of course Tony D'Angelo, the champion, going up against members of the full-blooded Italians, FBI, Nunzio or Little Guido Menetano, and he was in his corner, Anthony Florio and my personal favorite, Tony Mama Luke.
Mama Luke.
Winner of about 2 minutes, 22 seconds, and still the NXT North American champion was Tony D'Angelo. Anthony Florio, this was quick. It was painless. Basically, we knew the outcome was never in doubt. This was kind of more nostalgia play, but they were trying to play the angle of that there was a little bit of a family feud between FBI and the family. Basically, some things kind of went a little off kilter, and they wanted it to do a fight for the NXT title. However, there was one other big announcement that was made during the vignette that led to the fight, and that was that Adriana Rizzo, he's got to fight Nikita Lyons next week.
And it was confirmed, and Nikita herself admitted that she was the one who took out Rizzo on behalf of Obafemi. Obafemi ordered her to do it. So, and Lyons admitted it. Point blank, she admitted it. So,
hey, we even knew it before Nikita even admitted it.
Oh yeah, we played in.
We kind of had a suspicion about it. Yeah,
we played the whodunit game. We played that whodunit game a couple weeks ago, but anyways, I'm gonna say it like this: I have every right to call this a dud, but because of the nostalgia factor, I'm gonna be generous and I'm gonna give this 1 star. This was a complete squash, and despite the crowd's reverent reaction for Nunzio, he did next to nothing in this one. His sell, the Spinebuster, was the one highlight of the bout. This felt mostly like a waste of time, but certainly played into the nostalgic vibe of the night. And Tony D'Angelo can add another successful North American title defense to his resume. Nunzio and Tony Mama Luke confronted the family backstage. Nunzio challenged the Don, and they also announced Adriana Rizzo would face Nikita Lyons next week. Nunzio hit the Sicilian slice. The crowd responded with a "You still got it." The Sicilian shooter threw out a prayer as he prepared to take the spine buster. And that's really all. It's 1 star only because of the nostalgia factor. Great to see Nunzio again, and even better to see Mama Luke. So yeah, MF, yeah, and when they showed up, Bullock's like, and because MF and I, we were having fun with Bullock on the commentary, no doubt about it. And, yeah, when Nunzio comes out, and after Mike Rome does the intro, Bullock says, "Well, here's Nunzio on the way to the ring, and aren't you forgetting someone, Bullock? Mama Luke." Yes. And he's like, and then Bullock would be like, "Who's Tony Mama Luke?" And you're like, and then MF would be like, "Who's Tony Mama Luke? Homie." I could tell you stories, but nonetheless, all kidding aside, it's a 1 star match. Even though I have every right to give it a dud, I'm gonna give it 1 star mainly for the nostalgia factor, and that's all I can say on that. So, Michael Bullock, well, you remember Nunzio, you remember the full-blooded Italians from the Ruthless Aggression era, of course, but yeah. So, and you got to see for the first time Mr. Tony Mama Luke. So, your thoughts on all this? It's a 1 star, even though it really should be a dud.
Well, I'm actually going to give it a dud because this was not good at all. I get it; it's because of the nostalgia, because of it's Nunzio, aka Little Guido, and of course Tony Mama Luke. So, but all in all, this was a squash match in general. So, dud, worst fight of the night. It's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it NA. I'll give it an NA. It was like you said. They basically did very short. You know, when Nunzio did hit the Sicilian slice, it kind of caught us off guard. But after that, it kind of went a little bit all over the place. You know, at the end of the day, it was fine for what it was worth. It was more of a showcase fight, cool down match, whatever you want to call it, because what was coming up next was going to be absolutely insanity. So I get it. I understand why they did it, and we got really nothing more to say. Of course, it was next week on NXT. Of course, North American title, women's North American title on the line. Kalani Jordan does implement her rematch clause. She gets another shot at Fallon Henley. Adriana Rizzo will go one-on-one with Nikita Lyons. And, of course, Anthony Floyo has mentioned this as well. Qualifying matches on both the men and women's Iron Survivor Challenges do begin next week on NXT. And, oh, by the way, another ECW legend in the building. Francine was in the building, and she also looks absolutely stunning after all these years, just to say the very least. Main event, the 10-woman tag team match. Fatal Influence. JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, and the aforementioned brand new NXT Women's North American Champion Fallon Henley, along with Cora Jade and the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. They went up against former North American Champion Kalani Jordan, TNA, Impact Wrestling superstar, and one of the greatest knockouts champions of all time, Jordan Grace. Of course, Delta or Zaria, Stephanie Valcourt, and Julia in the match. And when it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 15 minutes and 3 seconds. It was the team of Julia, Stephanie Valcourt, Zaharia, Jordan Grace, and Kalani Jordan. Zaria pinned the champion. She pins Roxanne Perez to end it. Michael Bullock, it's yours. 15:03, the time of the fall.
Fight of the night here. I'll give this 3.5 to 4 on this one. I mean, this was a tremendous main event here. I mean, it was complete and utter craziness here with this main event here. I mean, we saw everything, and of course, for the second time tonight, Florio, I'm gonna bring you in, because for the second time tonight, what did we just see?
Another championship committee moment.
I mean,
Zaria pins Roxanne Perez. Zaria, for all intents and purposes, Zaria will be the next challenger for Roxanne Perez in the NXT Women's Championship. And that match at the earliest possible date, I see it going down Saturday night, December the 7th, deadline.
And I'm making a bold prediction right here, right now. And I don't care what anybody says. I think Zaria is dethroning Roxanne Perez. That's just my personal thought. But a crazy main event. I mean, so Fletch, I mean, the face team goes over, but the big story here, Zaria pins the champion. Roxanne Perez may be in for the fight of her life.
Absolutely. I do believe she is in for the fight of her life. 3.5 stars is my rating for the main event. This was an incredible match. Everybody played their roles really well. It was an absolute banger of a match. I enjoyed it. The crowd was into it. They loved it. Yes, the outcome probably was never in doubt, but at the end of the day, I thought they did a very good job with it. So for me, 3.5 stars. Anthony, it is yours.
4 stars for me. Fight of the night. This was a showcase match for the babyface team, each delivering impact offense. The heels got some run down the stretch to make this look more competitive, but this was all about the new stars. The action got formulaic down the stretch, with every woman hitting one big move before falling to the next star. But it is hard to argue this all was not very effective. The crowd was electric. Zarya and Julia especially continued to be highlighted as massive stars, and Jordynne Grace looked as better than she ever has in an NXT ring. The final pinfall was surprising, as the Prodigy has taken pinfall losses to multiple women now. But NXT has time to sort out the pecking order in a stacked women's division in future weeks. So we shall wait and see how it all plays out. There was some notable things here. Both teams promised to win big ahead of the main event. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson told the Powerhouse team that they were rooting against them. Julia and Stephanie Vacour teased fighting them. As MF mentioned, Francine, the Queen of Extreme, was shown watching in the audience. The crowd was hotter and more consistently loud for this bout than anything else on the night. Jordynne Grace got the biggest hot tag of the match and ran over all 5 women. Metaphor arrived to mock the field, but Julia and Stephanie Vacour dove onto them. But one noticeable thing that happened near the end of the match, Zarya accidentally speared Jordynne Grace. Don't think I didn't forget about that. So something's going to come out of that, I believe. So nonetheless, though, incredible match. Solid 4 stars. Fight of the night. So we move on to the overall review now, I believe.
8 out of 10. They nailed it. This was an excellent show. You could even make an argument that maybe this was the best NXT since the show in Chicago when they made the jump to the CW. This has to go up there as maybe the second best show of the new era of NXT on the CW. This was a solid 8 out of 10 for me. They nailed it. With the nostalgia factor, with the ECW tie-ins, especially being at the 2300 arena tonight. The crowd was electric. The building felt great. It felt like one of those shows that we're gonna remember for a little while, maybe until the end of the year. This is one of those shows that we're gonna remember because it just felt good. The show was amazing. At the end of the day, they nailed it. We had a lot of storyline progressions. We had a lot of great things. 2 championship committee moments. We got the announcement for the Deadline show, the Iron Survivor. So we got a lot to work on heading into next week. And at the end of the day, NXT, take a bow. Sean and the boys, you did an amazing job. And to put that show in that legendary venue, and it lived up to the billing. They did an amazing job with this. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me as well. In a completely unsurprising result, the best matches of the night focused on the future of the business over the ECW legends. The 10-woman tag to end the night was pure energy from the opening bell. It made everything else look superfluous in comparison. Wes Lee versus Siobhan Evans, though, was the other obvious highlight of the night. The rest was simply too focused on cheap pops with ECW originals far beyond their prime. I hate to say this, but Bubba Ray Dudley's role was especially unnecessary. Still, the one-night event style worked to make this show feel different from its peers and honestly make better use of its venue than other recent NXT live events outside the Performance Center. The crowd played a huge role in delivering the energy, and the future of NXT continues to look very bright. And hopefully the nostalgia appearances will be kept to a minimum on the road to Deadline. So, constructive criticism aside, 8 out of 10. Great show. No doubt about it. So, Mr. NXT, Michael Bullock, take this home, and then we'll get into AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, I thought it was a really good show. I mean, yes, they could have done some things better on some things, but not really that much to complain about. So 8 out of 10. Let's get into Dynamite.
All right, guys, and we started it off with a tag team fight: Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy versus Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. The fight was thrown out. It was a no contest. Time of the fall at the time of the no contest was 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Look, it was a fine match. I'm obviously gonna punish it a little bit. It's only a 3.5-star bout because of the no finish. The match was good, was getting up there to 3 3/4 to 4, but I can only give it 3.5 because of the non finish. Obviously, a little disappointing than anything else, but it served its purpose. It was an incredible way to start the show. So really, nothing more to say. And Anthony, it's yours.
You went a little too fast on the time. What was that time again?
13:15.
13:15. Okay. 3.25, 3.25, 3.5. The match. I'll tell you what. The match was much more evenly split, and both sides came close to winning a few times. But Marina Shafir showed up, and that's when all the hell broke loose. Moxley showed up, and then immediately began choking out OC until Darby hit him with a skateboard. Match was thrown out. And I'll tell you what, a no contest finish is rarely ideal, but the way AEW is telling this story allows for it to make sense this time. Everything we saw was entertaining, and everyone worked hard to keep the crowd invested. And Orange Cassidy has officially changed to full black clothing to signify his change in attitude. And the way that Orange Cassidy baited Pac and Claudio so Darby could take them out was shot from a good camera angle. Allen flying from the top of the tunnel looked great. And you can really tell Claudio loves working with the smaller guys because he can just toss them around with ease. So, yeah, 3.25, 3.5. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to give this about 3.5 as well. I mean, this was a good jump off. I mean, I could have given this 3.25 to maybe 4, or 3 3/4 to 4, but I can only give this 3.5 because of the no contest here. So, but it does continue the story of Orange Cassidy's pursuit of Jon Moxley and the AEW World Title. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next year. So, it's yours, Fletch.
Next up, this is a staple of Ring of Honor: a fight without honor, no DQ, no disqualification, no count out. Only way to win it: pinfall or submission, and it's pinfalls throughout the building. By the way, folks, if you know the Ring of Honor code of honor or the fight without honor code, it was Brian Keith, Big Bill, and the Ring of Honor World Champion, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho, going up against Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Tomohiro Ishii, the Iron Pitbull. And when it was all said and done, winners of the bout. In 13 minutes even, it was Tomohiro Ishii. Kyle O'Reilly and Mark Briscoe. It was Ishii with the brain buster on the Learning Tree Chris Jericho for the 1, 2, 3. Anthony Florio. Well, I think we know what that means.
Championship committee moment. One more time. All right. This is about 3.5 stars. Another 3.25, 3.5. This was fun, but definitely had some weak spots, which is almost guaranteed to happen anytime you structure a bout like this. It has its pros and cons, but the crowd was into it, and that's what matters for most matches. And that's really all I can say on that. And yes, Tomohiro Ishii with the pin on Adam, with the pin on Chris Jericho, setting him up for a future Ring of Honor World Championship opportunity. My guess is the Full Gear pay-per-view later this month on the 23rd. So we'll see what happens on that. So another 3 1/4, 3 1/2. So Mega Bullock, third time tonight, another championship committee moment. Tomohiro Ishii pinning the Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho.
Yeah, like you said, because of that, I think Ishii is going to get that shot at Chris Jericho's Ring of Honor World Title. So, yeah, another 3.5-star match. I mean, there's really nothing else for me to say. So, it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, about 3 1/4, 3.5. I think they did a fine job with this match. It could have been better in certain areas, but I'm not going to be too negative about it. I think they did a really good job with it. So nothing more to say. Next up, we had with Malachi Black going 1-on-1 with Adam Cole, and it was Adam Cole, baby, winning the match in 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
Another 3.5-star match here. I mean, Adam Cole goes through both members of, the members of 2 members of the House of Black, and Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black now. So, of course, as he continues his pursuit of MJF. So, yeah. So there's really nothing more for me to say except Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, it was a 3.5-star match. I didn't like the ending. I don't know why. I did not like the ending. I thought the ending was a little weird. It didn't feel right to me. The match was good, though. I mean, Malachi Black and Adam Cole are 2 great performers, 2 great wrestlers. So you knew you were going to get something good. The ending, though, left a little bit of a bitter taste in the mouth. Just like I said, constructive criticism. Yes, I actually can do it too, folks. Not just Florio. But I gotta be the man to tell it like it is on this one. I kind of felt like the ending was a little weak, in my opinion, just a little weak. But at the end, fine match, 3.5 stars. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, 3.5. This was a well-paced and methodical match. Aside from 1 or 2 awkward moments, this was a good display of the skills both men possessed. It was especially nice to see Malachi Black get a solo spotlight, which is something that feels rare in AEW for some reason. Adam Cole was trying to get one of 3 needed wins before he could challenge MJF at Full Gear, and the announcers made sure to remind us of what was on the line enough times to telegraph the ending even more than it already was. In a somewhat confusing decision on Black's part, he allowed Cole to hit him with a running knee for the pin and the win. It almost seemed like he was possibly hurt for real and used that as a way to finish the match. And MF, I actually agree with you. The ending being kind of weird hurt this a bit, but most of what we got in this match was solid. And they ended up hugging after the match before Cole took a mic and addressed the crowd and MJF. And he said that it's going to be Adam Cole versus MJ, that MJF's going to face both Adam Cole and Roderick Strong in a triple threat match at Full Gear. Little interesting on that end, okay, but we'll see how that goes. So, theme of the night so far, 3 1/4, 3.5 stars yet again. So, not much more to say. Move on.
All right. And now we do have the main event of the evening because there was a lot of promo stuff right after that. It does lead us to the main event as it was Konosuke Takeshita, and it also was, hold on, let me see if I can get it. It's going a little, okay. And Kyle Fletcher, they went up against Ricochet and a partner of his choosing. He actually surprised me. I did not expect this name. The Powerhouse, Will Hobbs, is the partner for Ricochet. I honestly thought we were going to get the Dream Team of Will Ospreay and Ricochet. We did not get that, but don't worry, folks. We got the payoff after the match was over. But Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricochet winning the match in 14 minutes and 42 seconds. Anthony Florio, you lead off on the main event.
Okay. Well, there was one other match before it, but we're not gonna address it. We're gonna just dive on into this. Before this, there was a match with Penelope Ford with Superbad Penelope Ford against Jamie Hayter, but we're gonna cast that aside for this main event here.
Yeah, Jamie. By the way, just to let you know, Jamie Hayter actually did get the win in that match.
There you go. Okay, so we saw a lot of good action from all four men. Ricochet did a lot of selling as an underdog, and Powerhouse Hobbs did a great job playing his heavy against his former allies. And very a solid main event here. This was about 3.5 stars. I could say by default the fight of the night. And yes, MF, you're absolutely right. I too thought Will Ospreay was going to be Ricochet's partner. Why else would they be making this the main event? But Powerhouse Hobbs, that was the last person I expected. But anyways, Powerhouse Hobbs looks like he is in even better shape than he was when he was injured. So that's all I can really say there. So this is a 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4. I could say fight of the night for me. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Powerhouse Hobbs as Ricochet's partner. We were all expecting Will Ospreay. Nobody expected Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, of course, Powerhouse Hobbs was part of the Don Callis family, and he got casted aside after he got hurt. So Powerhouse Hobbs had payback on his mind. So yeah, he gets it, but then of course we had utter chaos. Of course, after the match, you had the Brian Cage and Lance Archer come out, and then of course you had who was it that used. Who was that guy that used to be with the United Empire? The one that
Mark Davis.
Mark Davis. He tried to talk some sense to Kyle Fletcher, and then Kyle Fletcher looked like he was going to use the screwdriver on him as Lance Archer and Brian Cage held him down, and then he's back. Will Ospreay is back. He wanted payback on the guy who betrayed him, Kyle Fletcher. So, yeah. I think these two, Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay, they have to meet at the earliest possible date. And I think Full Gear is the place for Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to go at it to settle their differences. So, I'm going to give this about 3.5, 3 3/4. And like you said, by default, this was the fight of the night. So, it's yours, Fletch.
Yeah, 3.5, 3 3/4, no doubt about it. I think they did a really good job with the main event. Obviously there was a little bit of some all over the place stuff, and yeah, I think they really served its purpose. They did it really well. So Michael Bullock, it's time for your overall review. So it's all yours, man.
Yeah, I'll give this about 7 to 7.5 for this edition of Dynamite. So not going to get too much into it. It's your Fletch.
I'm gonna, you know what? Slightly disagree. I'm actually gonna give it 8 out of 10, and I'm gonna say by far, and I'll openly admit this was probably the best Dynamite show in about 2 months. They really focused. This was actually really good. 3 solid matches. You had actual legitimate storyline progression. You had the return of Will Hobbs and Will Ospreay came back. So you had the battle lines drawn for the Don Callis faction, and then not everything was perfect, but you got enough storyline stuff going on. Everything else felt structured, felt good. I'll admit it. I know I'm going to get a little heat from this, but I don't give a damn. This was probably the best Dynamite show we've had in the last 2 months, 3 months. I can definitely say we're not ranting about this show. This was actually a really damn good show, and they pulled it off. I'm thoroughly impressed. AEW actually, got their heads out of their asses and actually did a damn good job with this show tonight. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Okay. I'll meet you in the middle, MF. 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. Tonight's Dynamite was a decent show from top to bottom, but I do have constructive criticism, though. But it had the problem of everything kind of blending together, so nothing really overly stood out. Other than Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter being too short to be anything special, every match got enough time to be good, but none of them hit that level we are used to from AEW until the main event. Kyle Fletcher is one of AEW's best young stars, and Konosuke Takeshita is right there with him. Ricochet's talents are well documented, and so are the skills of Will Hobbs. While this wasn't necessarily what we would call a match of the year candidate, the main event was definitely the best thing from tonight's show. So 7.5 to 8 out of 10. We got one last order of business here. MF, Thursday Night Football, and boy howdy, we got ourselves a good one on our side of the ledger.
Oh boy, do we got a good one, folks, from MMT Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It is Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, and it is the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Baltimore Ravens. You guys already know who's going to be covering this game for Amazon. It is Al Michaels, Curb Street, Kaylee Hartung. That is for you guys. Anthony Floyo will hit you in just a moment with the local affiliates. The last time these two teams played, it was back in October 6th, 2024. It was a wild one. 41-38, Baltimore taking down Cincinnati in that last battle. Right now, the Ravens are a slight favorite going into the game tomorrow night. They are a slight favorite. At least 3.5. I think, Anthony, you can help me out with that, but I think it is a 3-point spread.
It's more than that. It's more than that.
It's more than that? All right.
When you throw it to me, I'll give you all the schematics.
All right. At first, I thought it was 3, but let's see. Yeah. So I'm going to say this. I know a lot of people are freaking out about Cincinnati, wondering where are they going? What's their makeup? What are they going to look? They've been all over the place, but they did get a nice win last week over the Raiders not too long ago. And of course, for Baltimore, they're just, they're chugging along. They had a nice win, a dominating win over Denver. And the thing is that at the end of the day, you got to play really well. Now, there is a concern. Going into the game. Lamar Jackson was on the injury report. However, I do believe that he will be available. He did miss a practice. That was already one thing that we did think about. Isaiah Early has been ruled out. He will not play. Brett Urban will not play as well. And Juwan Amar Davis is doubtful. He may not play as well, all due to injury. Isaiah likely with a hamstring. Brett Urban is in concussion protocol. And I do believe Davis was doubtful. I think it was a leg injury as well. Keon Mitchell with a knee injury. He is actually questionable, and so is Rashad Ali with an ankle. He is questionable. However, both men should be good to go. They should be able to play tomorrow night. Look, at the end of the day, it's not the most glamorous situation, to say the very least. But, when you got Derrick Henry, when you got Lamar Jackson, and they are so explosive offensively, like right now, if you want to know how good they are, number one in total yards per game, number three in the passing game, number one in rushing. Gee, I wonder why. But I will say this, though. When it comes to their defense, they can get exposed. Baltimore is 25th yards per game. They actually give up the most yards through the air. They actually surrender 281 yards per game against quarterbacks. So if you're Joe Burrow, you're going up against that secondary, you're licking your chops right about now. You're thinking, I'm about to carve some people off tomorrow night. The one problem is the Ravens D, they stopped the run. So you're going to have to become one-dimensional. But the problem is, if you become one-dimensional, the ears are going to be pinned up. So that defense might be targeting you, Joe Burrow, and trying to come in after you more than anything else. Of course, when you're talking about the Ravens, it's a dual threat. You got Lamar Jackson, who can run and pass. You know he's dominating. You can cause some trouble in that front. And then, of course, on the other front, you also have something else. Of course, with Derrick Henry, he's also very dangerous as well. And not bad for the number 4 game in our ledger this week, Anthony Florio. And I give it to you. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this game 27-21. It is yours.
Yeah. We go by records, and based on the records, this was good enough to be our number 4 game of the week. There are 3 games that are better than this, believe it or not. It could have been top 3 if Baltimore didn't let that Cleveland game get away from them, but, it is what it is. But anyways, like MF mentioned, Baltimore defeated Cincinnati. This is their second meeting. Baltimore won in Cincinnati, that wild game, 41-38. They add to their regular season series lead. It's now 31-26. Ravens have won 3 straight against Cincinnati, and we're going to Baltimore this time. Baltimore won last year in Baltimore, 34-20. And they also won in 2022 as well, 19-17. Cincinnati's last win in Baltimore was in 2021. Cincinnati smashed Baltimore in that game, 41-17. So that's the story on that. Baltimore is opening up as a 6-point favorite, believe it or not. It's a 6-point spread in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. And of course, as we always mention, not everybody gets Amazon Prime Video. But only for the people of Cincinnati and for Baltimore, you do have an out. And that out is for both of you, it's your respective ABC affiliates. So Cincinnati, that is WCPO ABC Channel 9 in Cincinnati. And for Baltimore, you can get it on your ABC affiliate. That's WMAR ABC Channel 2 in Baltimore. So with all that, let's dive in here. The Bengals can get back to 500 with a win. The Ravens can create a 3-game gap in the standings between the two teams. The Week 5 matchup of 41-38 Classic will be a little more buttoned up this time. But Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson will put on a show. Trey Hendrickson did not have a sack in the first meeting. Can he disrupt the Ravens offense, which leads the AFC with 31.4 points a game? That is the magic number for the winner here. The Bengals are humming along with their passing game with Joe Burrow playing at an MVP level despite their 4-5 start. Lamar Jackson is performing like he wants to repeat at MVP, however, and both of these teams have enough defensive issues to think both quarterbacks will have big games. It comes down to more diverse weapons and the better power running game, and that late game advantage goes to Baltimore at home in prime time. I too had the Baltimore Ravens winning this game 31-28. The Baltimore Ravens defeat the Cincinnati Bengals tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. Should be a great game. Can't wait to get into it. So, and we'll have a complete recap of the game Friday night as part of NFL Friday. So 31-28 Baltimore wins. Nothing more to say except take us home, Bullock.
Yeah, like you said, this should be a really good game here when you got rivals going at it. But at the end of the day, I too am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this one. So there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Let's call it a night and set up the future content.
Okay, with that said, here's the rest of the remaining content, guys. Tomorrow night, it's College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio at 10:30 Eastern. And like we said, we're going to start talking about some of the games. And on top of that, we're also going to be talking about, the thing very soon. We're going to be including the college football playoff rankings. So you'll get to see how that plays out. And then from there, we are going to be doing and then Friday is NFL Friday, Saturday, Cerebral Smack Talk. And we are going to be done. And then we do it all over again on Monday with Ridiculously Raw. So for Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye.